This is BNN, the Bennington News Network.
We're at question number 7. Jeannie, I believe we're starting with you. You've seen a new partnership formed between the BCRC and the BCIC to combine resources and leverage dollars. Would you support a similar partnership between the Bennington Area Chamber of Commerce and the BBC?
Really?
And the clock.
And so I want to say to begin with, I am on the board of BCIC, all right? And so I did fully support that, that partnership. I think a partnership between the Chamber and the Better Bennington Corporation is something that has been thought about quite a bit. And I think it will depend on what those organizations become. The Better Bennington Corporation is focused differently than the Chamber. I think if those organizations become more similar, that could make some sense. The Better Bennington Corporation has a very strong focus on economic development. It does a lot of connecting and supporting of organizations in this community. It runs some events, but event running is not its main focus. It works a lot on focusing on the downtown to make the downtown more vibrant, and in that way support the community. I think the work that Mike McDonough, for instance, has done with the design committee downtown has been tremendous, and that is a focus on downtown. The green space initiatives are downtown. I think it's also important that we are focusing on merchants in the downtown. So I think at this point, I think it's worth continued discussion, and we'll see what those organizations become.
Thank you. Don, the question's yours.
I think any brainstorming is good. I wouldn't want to eliminate any possibilities. You never know what might come from it. But my quick reaction, not necessarily being as deeply ingrained, is my understanding is that BBC is somewhat of a outreach of something called downtown development or downtown investment or whatever that's called. Tax district, which is in the charter. And so I believe that's how you get to those objectives that are listed in the charter. And those directives are really focused on the downtown. And downtown is a part of the bigger picture, but it's really focused on downtown. And the downtown has substantial challenges. That aside, the Chamber it seems to me to be a broader organization geographically and involves many more members with, I would hope, a much broader charge, vision, and I'd like to see, I'm excited about reading weekly columns that talk about new visions and new ideas, and I'd like to see where that goes, because a traditional Chamber of Commerce, if you think of most places, can play a very large role in helping a community to not only be strong within, but to help to recruit from without and to sell the community. I think everybody has to sell. I think BBC has to sell, but I just see one as a much larger, more embracive. Could they go? I'd love to hear the discussion. I think that's one of those areas that I would probably be surprised to hear what great things could happen, because I don't see it up front.
Thank you. Mike?
Well, first of all, the opening of the question, I'm very supportive of the collaboration that has been established between both regional commissions, that for planning and that for industrial development. There's an incredible synergy there, and it just makes all kinds of sense to bring those two points of focus together. I'm going to talk about the BBC Chamber thing first generally, but then more specifically and pragmatically. I think that the BBC and the Chamber on a day-to-day basis have had a tremendous working relationship, and it exhibited itself in so many different ways that aren't obvious and apparent, but they work. Now, I've had the honor and the privilege to serve on the Vermont Downtown Board since its inception in 1998. And I get to see how the communities of Vermont sustain their downtowns and their village centers, which are the two state designations that we have. And we were the second downtown designated by the state. And a component of that designation is that each downtown must have an organization selected by the municipality to be its voice in downtown matters, and to carry the charge of developing and sustaining a vital downtown. And so, though that collaboration between the Chamber and the BBC is incredibly important, and I know that it will continue, there's almost a statutory requirement that we have an organization within our community that focuses its attention on downtowns. Downtowns developed as a product of the marketplace. That marketplace has changed. We all know that it's changed. And so the vitality and the importance of our downtown needs to be supported in a very special way.
Thank you. Jean?
You're a hard act to follow. Let's see. I guess my feeling about merging the two organizations, if it makes sense and the missions of both organizations can mesh, I'm thinking it might free up some energy of people that are on both of those organizations, and they could do something else in the community. Because let's face it, we all have limited time, but if it's a reduced number of people, obviously these people care deeply for our town. They could do something else with that energy. I don't know enough about it. If accomplishing things would be easier and quicker, I also am impatient. We seem to be an impatient group up here. So if that were the case, then maybe it would be a good idea. That's kind of all I have to say.
Thank you. Tom, the question goes to you.
This is tough. This is probably the hardest one that we have in a lot of ways. But really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They purposely made me ask the question.
Yeah. Okay. This is only fair. You know, the mantra last year was economic development. I think 2016 and forward has got to be synergy. BCIC, BBC, all of this stuff, the alphabets, we've really got to basically use the limited resources, and when I say resources, I mean dollars and people, to the most beneficial way. And that may be retracting, retrenching, revisiting both organizations, charters, and otherwise. And when I say charter, I mean that also is the town of Bennington, because a lot of the BBC's benefit to the community, and it's been so vast for so many years, is a direct result of our charter. So I do think that we should look at the charter in the context of what we have, what we want, and how we get there. And then we can have that measurable goals and attainment, which may be a charter revision. So I don't think anyone is afraid of looking at that. I think the leaders, BBC and the Chamber, are only looking out for what is the best for the community. And if that means retitling, redoing, I don't think there's going to be great hesitancy on the part of all of the participants, because we're only as good as the citizens, and what alphabet we come under, it really is going to be secondary to what we need.
Thank you.